Hello and welcome to the show. When it comes to names synonymous with speed, you can't do better than Ferrari. Regardless of if you are a particular fan of their cars or not, a fan of their race teams, etc., it is a brand that even the least informed when it comes to cars know that Ferraris are red and they know that Ferrari make fast cars. I think for a while it was the most recognisable brand in the world. Sadly beaten by McDonald's, which seems a little bit of a shame. But there we go. It's just something that people know. And from express or surprise from their various exploits when it comes to motorsports, you know, Formula 1, Le Mans, the old road rallies, GT racing, etc., Ferrari have been incredibly successful. Maybe they're not doing quite as well at the moment as they have done in the past, but still, it's an incredibly recognisable name, and there are a huge number of crazy fast race cars and road cars to go with that, like this F50 GT, for example. Makes a brilliant noise, goes around a track incredibly quickly, if at times a bit on the, well, scary side to drive. There is also a hugely impressive collection of classic cars. The most expensive cars in the world have tended to be these Ferraris, going for 10, 20, 30 million dollars. They are, yeah, hugely valuable cars. There are quite a lot of different versions, but said different versions often made in tiny quantities. You know, when you look at the 250s, there's long wheelbase versions, short wheelbase versions, well, the California here, for example. And while, yeah, there's a lot of different ones, it can at times be quite difficult to keep track of all of the different ones. Each one was made in very low quantities, hence the incredible value, and, well, they are on the rather pretty side. Now, we will all have our favourite looking classic cars. I'm not going to say that the Ferrari California is my favourite of them, because there are those that I prefer more, but the truth of the matter is, it's an incredible looking car. It is pretty damn fast as well. For the year of 1957, having, I think it's over 260 horsepower in this car, means it is certainly not slow. Yeah, a modern day Civic Type R will annihilate it around a track, but the Civic Type R is not going to look as good as the Ferrari California, or sound as good, or have as much history. Now, when they brought the California name back, the car that it went along with, I was never massively impressed with it. It's a strange one. It is one of the very few cars, however, the way that it is, I say portrayed in games, it never looks as good in a game as it does when you see one in real life. And I don't think that's the fault of the games. It's a really difficult one to explain. I have seen a few Californias, whether it be at car shows, whether it be on the road, and so on, and I quite like them. I quite like the look of the California when you see it in real life, but in games it always just looks a little odd. I think the front bumper is the main area of concern with it. It's really difficult to explain. I hope other people kind of know what I experience. What I mean, it's not the fault of Forza. In every single game I've ever seen it, it just doesn't quite, I don't know, it just doesn't quite work for me. Much like the Maserati Quattroporte. Maserati Quattroporte, incredible sounding car. One of the best sounding cars I've ever heard in real life. No game has ever come close to capturing that, though. Games have tried, but it never quite sounds as good. And likewise, the California just never quite has maybe even like the same presence when it comes to a game. Also, when it comes to driving the car, I was never the biggest fan. It's an okay car. There's nothing terribly wrong with it. But combine it looking a bit odd and not being my favourite car to drive, it's tended to be a vehicle that I've not paid much attention to. Not really cared too much about. However, there is a new one. This, the Ferrari California T. I say a new one. More of a facelift version of the California and a different engine, and it immediately solves a lot of the problems I had with the previous one. It's a considerably better looking car. The front taking inspiration from the F12, and the back, while still being similar, it's just more refined. More refined overall. I prefer having the more traditional layout of exhaust at the back. You know, you've still got the brake lights kind of sticking out the top almost, but yeah, overall this works considerably better. Not sure on the wheels. Not sure on the wheels of this car. Perhaps the biggest criticism, certainly of the appearance, yeah, they're strange strange looking wheels on the back of this, but overall it works considerably better. Much prefer the front bumper and the general look of the car. It even has a half sensible amount of boot space. Now, I believe these can have folding hardtops, and I would imagine, or sort of folding metal roofs, and I would imagine part of that space would be taken up. I couldn't quite figure out where the mechanism went in this one, but even so, there is a decent amount of space in the back of this one. You're not going to fit IKEA furniture in it, no, but still you could carry some stuff. It's not even a bad place to be inside. It falls into the usual Ferrari trap of many buttons on the steering wheel. Not as crazy, of course, as some of their vehicles, but this is designed to be more of a Grand Tour car. It's not designed to be an ultimate track weapon. It's designed to be something that is, you know, comfortable for those long journeys to go and find a nice Italian back road. And I feel like perhaps it could have done with a bit less in the way of clutter in terms of buttons and dials for you, but there we go. Maybe that is just me. Of course, when it comes to testing the California, it is a little bit difficult to do. In Forza, you see, the primary purpose of a car like this is, well, to do long journeys around interesting Italian backroads in comfort, but in plenty of speed as well if the mood happens to take you. And, well, that kind of driving, we don't have that sort of road in Forza 7, and that kind of driving in 7 is, or in games in general, is, well, just less rewarding. I'll push whatever car I have to the limits of what I can do with it pretty much wherever I go, because it's a video game, and because I can. So perhaps the real strengths of this car are a little difficult for me to judge and to comment on, but how does it fare when you really, really want to throw it around the track? Well, that is a lot better than I was expecting from this one. See, the car weighs 3,800 pounds, and that is quite a lot of weight to be moving around, certainly compared to the sort of cars that I'm used to driving and the sort of cars that I'm used to racing. But it doesn't feel like it. It does an impressive job of masking that weight. To be honest, I didn't know how much the car weighed when I started driving, never paid any attention, was quite surprised when I saw the actual figure. Other figures of note, well, 0 to 60 comes and goes in about 3.5 seconds. It'll be doing 100 in 8, and will top out at 200 miles an hour. Kind of your run-of-the-mill figures for a car like this. It's what you would expect. It is nothing outstanding, nothing truly incredible, but it is certainly right around that ballpark figure. And the engine itself is exciting enough. It's 554 horsepower, makes a glorious Ferrari, well, V8 whale. It's a nice sounding car. It's a nice driving car. It does occasionally bottom out. I've seen that a little bit. Suzuka, it's not too bad driving it around, but a couple of other circuits that I gave it a go, certainly ones with more extreme elevation changes and nastier curbs, can have issues with the car bottoming out. But as a car to take around a track, it is very, very capable indeed, and I can only imagine it is even more capable when you find that perfect back road. Of course, we have to see how quickly this car will go around our Yas Marina test track. It is pretty damn good off the line. We don't have too much wheel spin before the Ferrari will accelerate away towards turn 1. A nasty change in direction that the cars have to deal with through here. Across the Yas Marina curbs, it wasn't too bad on the big ones, but you can see as we run across the exit curbs how things can get a little bit sketchy at times. Kind of almost bounce off the gutter on that next one. It's okay with dealing with them, you just got to be aware that it might bottom out. These two fast right-handers, certainly not going to be flat out through the pair of them, but also, interestingly, no big sideways moments. This is a powerful Ferrari, rear-wheel drive, no crazy aero, no massive wing on the back, and still pretty damn planted. You know, it's not moving around through these corners. There's a little bit of wheel spin from a couple of the slower speed acceleration zones, but again, remarkably planted for something that's not designed purely as a track car to go around here. As I said, no huge amounts of aerodynamic aids on this one as we head around the final corner, get the car turned in for that nasty hairpin, and then it is just all power, all acceleration down towards that finish line. A good lap from the Ferrari, and as I said, it's impressively composed and controlled for what is a very powerful car, but with fairly minimal, certainly in terms of aerodynamic stuff. And the lap time is pretty damn impressive. It's a 1:11.2 for the California T. That puts it just 0.2 of a second down on the BMW M4 GTS. It is 0.8 of a second away from the Porsche Cayman GT4. Yeah, okay, we're a couple of seconds down on the Aston Martin GT12, but we're talking full-on track-orientated monsters there. To go so close to the M4, to go pretty damn close to the Cayman GT4, is a very, very good showing for a car like the California T. It convincingly beats the likes of the BMW i8 and the Lotus Evora by well over a second. Now, of course, if you are looking for the ultimate lap time, if you are looking for, the ultimate, in some ways, driver's cars, yeah, there are going to be cheaper options out there that are going to go faster. Things like this Caterham, for example. Yeah, take a lap around Yas Marina, the Caterham, and it is going to beat the California. The Lotus 311 is going to annihilate the California when it comes to a circuit. But if the going gets a little bit wet, you're going to get soggy inside your Caterham. And as I said before, while it is very difficult for me to test in terms of comfort in these sort of cars, there are dumb annoyances even in the Caterham that you come across when driving it in a game. For example, the rear view mirror is slap bang in the middle. You can kind of see as we go around some of these corners. Now, if like me, you drive from cockpit view, that mirror covers up a huge amount of your vision. A couple of corners at Sonoma, you cannot see the apex. You turn in completely blind and hope that you've found the right place. You can't even see the braking points for some of the corners, because the wing mirror is in the wrong, or the rear view mirror is in the centre and blocks out a large amount of your view. Yes, this Caterham is a very, very fast car and a good driving car, but there's little annoyances like that would creep in, I assume probably quite annoying when it came to everyday driving. And again, I'm sure there'll be more that you would come across. And in California, not really found such problems. Not really found such problems at all. Overall, I am thoroughly impressed with this vehicle. It solves pretty much all of the problems I had with the previous generation of car. It looks fantastic. It sounds brilliant. The only thing I don't like about the looks, aside from the dodgy wheels, the headlights, the daylight running lights, not a fan of them whatsoever. Not really a fan of them on any car, quite frankly. It's Ferrari's solution to having to have them on their vehicle, but yeah, I don't like them whatsoever. But yeah, the rest of it, it is a very, very good looking car, and it's a really nice driving car. Only 0.2 off that M4 GTS shows some serious speed out of the vehicle. While I would imagine it would also be quite comfortable to live with, quite comfortable if you happen to find some normal roads to drive around. So, while, yeah, for the 230-odd thousand credits, I'd probably still have the Field of Preludes go to a single-make championship. But if you are looking for a big, grand touring sports car that you can enjoy over long distances and still be very capable around a circuit, this California T is a very, very good bet. Yeah, in 50, 60 years down the line, I doubt we will quite look back as fondly at the California T as we do now at the 250 Californias, and I also highly doubt it'll be worth anywhere near as much. They're produced in much higher numbers, and there's not the same handmade feel and the same history to the cars. That being said, it doesn't really bother me, because in the here and now, it is a fantastic vehicle, and one that I struggle to find too much wrong with.